Hello, it's Chris, and welcome back to the sea. That's something else, Amiga. And on the show today, we have something from the sea, the Pacific Ocean, from Mr. Michael, all the way on the West Coast. And it comes to us very special to him, and unfortunately, it is my favorite freaking revision.
No, God!
It was so bad off, I shot some Windex right here just to see if it would clean up. And it did a little bit. Let's take a closer gander at this wonderful specimen of my favorite freaking board, a revision 4.3 Amiga 2000. That is from the ocean.
Start in the back at the serial port here. Yeah, that's, I don't know how. Look, I don't know how. And then, you know, we got some crust in the ports in there, and that. Just great. Video slot, and here's where it gets fun. Of course, we have our 512K Agnes, our ROM, which is a 1.3 ROM with some liquid on it, our CPU, which you're like, that don't look bad, but yeah. So Zorro slots are this color. The CPU socket is this color. Now the fun doesn't end there. The CPU socket has also taken a turn, as you can tell by this wonderful just pattern of matching green and that missing pin as it goes almost all the way up. We get some cleaner on the left side, but you can see there it's been gouged in. There's a little bump right there, a little gold dot. It's probably about the size of an ant's testicle. Let's really just take in the joy that this accelerator slot has given us. Holy crap, I mean that, they're connected, God damn it! Moving over to the battery rot, you can see the ground bar and the 5-volt rail and the wonderful joys of these. I can see it on camera, there is a ring break. So yeah, right on that corner of that ring, on that resistor pack, there's exposed copper and there is an edge break. What does the ROM socket look like before we dive into this turkey? A little flat blade action here. Oh. By the sound of that extraction, the Gennard would have never been. Oh, that's toast too. It's good. Wonderful. So she's green. All the pins, all 40. Oh boy. And you know, there's memory. There's a whole boatload of memory. And Denise Paula, CIA's, Gary. Didn't forget about you over here, Buster. She is a NTSC flavor, and look at the rot on the ferrite bead 101 there next to Agnes. If this is as bad as it looks, worse than my table, it's going to need a couple things.
Membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
And just to let you know, due to the nature of free pairs, I am cutting free labor to 40 hours. That's a whole work week. That's not all at once, but I will devote 10 to 12 hours at a time on your repair. I will do all I can to save it. I cannot save them all. There are times when it is economically not feasible, even for myself, with the Patreons. It's not feasible for us to do this. Sometimes you just gotta let one go. I don't like to. It's happened, but I can't save everything. Sometimes there's just stuff that's too far gone. The Amiga 2000 line's pretty simple, but it can also be complex when you get into the basics. After the basics are done, CPU socket, ROM socket, and Agnes and accelerator socket, CIA's, Denise Paula. After that, when you get into some weird stuff like some ceramic discs and comparators and transceivers, it can get troublesome and time consuming in the troubleshooting process when you're digging up schematics. Also, my chair has been swapped out for the red one here because it doesn't squeak like an old boat. So Mr. Michael wrote me in Discord, and it's kind of TLTR. That's too long to read, but in a nutshell, this 2000 mainboard belongs to a friend of his named Mr. Ray. One of his sons, so we can blame his son for this, was helping him repair a storage area, put a bunch of electronics in the garage, where they stayed for the past many years. This Amiga 2000 was kind enough to keep an Amiga 1000, which did survive, off the ground, which means Pacific Ocean, remember? This 2000 suffered a lot. Suffered mightily. It would mean a lot to me to see if this can be repaired. Mr. Ray is retiring from repairs, and he has some concerns about his health. He asked me to help reclaim his home for himself and family. Ray wants Michael to keep something that caught his eye, and lo and behold, he picked a Rev 4. Amiga 2000 to be it. You couldn't pick one a little higher up in the water table? It has to be something funny and special meaning to me, since Ray always told me that he never really got into Amigas, but kept the machines around for testing monitors and power supplies. The case bottom will be restored, and the machine will join his other Commodore fleets. There's a whole another story that I've been asked not to discuss, but I'm going to do what I can like I always can. Which leads me to you guys out there. Thank you to all of my patrons, supporters, likers, and donators in any way, shape, or form, from parts to monetary to just a like. Without you guys, none of this will be possible, because again, this is a hobby for me. It is not a business. This is it's become a job, but I still do this as a hobby. I do not make money from this. I do have support and help from my patrons. So all of us in the past, let's say 2 years, have saved over 230 Commodore Amiga machines, ranging from all of the models, from the towers down to the 500s. So we're going to continue on with this one. I don't even know what nickname to call this unit. Oh man, yeah, it's bad. Look at the bottom. You can just see the whiteness. Look, oh my goodness. It's bad. Even down here, it's really bad.
It's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
This is so fragile. I could just snap it off and have a big hole. It's really bad.
That it is, Edward.
There's flakes of acidic material coming off of there. It looks like the battery was actually snipped. But then you threw it in the water, and that's fun. So I'm going to raise the Dr. Chris magnet. That's one of these. This is Dr. Chris Save You the Commodore Universe, my YouTube channel. We'll bless it with this and some anointed oil, and see what we can do. Alright, for this we're going to need all the big guns. 700 degrees. Sounds good. Black Lorena. I got one in black and silver. I'm going to snip the legs, oh god, out of this CPU socket, or the legs, the center section. And I've said this before, it relieves the stress. Holding all of them together allows me to look in the middle for any additional screwdriver damages, and just to see how it's holding up. I'm going to do the same for the ROM socket, because I have to replace both. This, I don't think all of this is battery acid, but I think it is more of like salt water or something. Some kind of liquid damage is the best I can describe it. Water, rain, years of... I mean, this is battery for sure. This is definitely battery. This corrosion looks like it's set in metallic water. Something was wet and sitting here. The center of the board? Fine. Now I've always said the Revision 4 Amiga 2000 suffers from board flex, and this is no exception. This is a flat desk, and as you can see here, there's just crap flying off of here. Yeah. This is flexed out really bad. Causes board deflection on the circuits. Some people crank the screw back down. Usually this comes from a bottom of the Amiga 2000 case, gets borked, and no one straightens it back out. I ran over one of mine with the tire of my Kia because it's a really thin tire and it got right in there. I didn't run over the posts, just on that one end of the X, and it flattened it back out. So, yeah, this is going to be a mission. With our soldering station heated up, I'm going to have to extract pretty much everything. So I'm going to start with the ROM, CPU, and CPU socket. We're going to add solder to. I'm not going to bore you with it because it's going to be a long one. I'll just do it and come right back with the extracted holes. So I'm, like I said, sorry, I'm adding solder, and then I'll use the Heiko clone of the SS93 Alpha solder sucker extractor mofo until I get my WEP solder station extractor, solder sucker extractor thing. We're going to use that to extract the sockets, and then I'll report back and we'll take a look at what it looks like underneath of our underwear. It's 6 p.m. on Omnibot's clock, and I just got done extracting those sockets. I pulled a ton of metal out of here. It doesn't look like a lot, but that's a lot of metal. And the sockets came out, and they are as gross on the bottom. That's one side of the CPU. Here's the other side of the bottom of the CPU. We saw what the top looked like. This is one half of the ROM socket. You can see she's just bread and butter perfect. And the other half, disaster. I just got them out. I have not flipped the board over. I just wanted to, let's just breathe this in together. I've already breathed in enough lead smoke to just take a gander at that. And I don't know, doesn't look that bad. Probably every one of these rings is jacked up and broke. Socket took the brunt of it, but they always break the rings. I know there's one broken here because I can physically see it, even with my bad eyes and the helmet goober. She's broke. I'm probably going to have to go ahead and pull the resistor pack out also. Haven't even got to the CPU socket yet because, God, it takes forever. This was, you figure 68 pins plus 40, it was 100 and something right there. And I'm just going to do this. I'm going to alcohol the area first, just hose her down. I soaked this with alcohol the other night just to neutralize any of the holy crap moments. Now I do not have a CPU socket. So what I'm going to do is the next best thing. This is called Zorro and CPU socket repair. This is Deox at D5. $17 a can, pre-Rona. I'm going to squirt this down, just fill it up there. And then I'm going to find what I did with my brush. Here it is. Here's a crusty bronze brush. I'm going to put some deoxit on that too. This can is losing pressure. And we're going to go from green to sheen. Oh yeah. Deoxit just does wonders for things. I don't know about this, but we're going to try. Whoops. Step on that later. Let me hose her out. It's not vibrant green anymore. Now, yeah, it's all clogged in the middle there. I got to take it out and then get the bottom of it clean. That's why I have to remove the socket. Just removing this whole area, that cap and all. Just gotta get back to the, oh my, get back to the nothingness. So that's before you can even start to thinking about even repairing it. That's just getting the rot. We haven't even gotten to the backside yet. I'm not even looking forward to that. That's every port. Do I have to take every single port off? No. Serial port, extensions, toast, floppy drives crusty, and is it a broken pin? No, just crusty. Thought it was a broken pin. And even on the backside here where this juice is, I gotta get something to soften this board up. It's so brittle. I gotta get something in there that's non-conductive, just to kind of get something on this board as lubrication. And I'm gonna let that sit and soak in a bit. Deoxit is dielectric, so it's removes the oxidation. It's gonna be a stinky mess when I hit some heat to this, but the idea is to get rid of that ash white. As you can see here, it's dripping wet, but if you compare it to the back here, Like there's the ash, there was all this mess right here. You can see it's soaking wet. And you can see the damage level way more with the oil on it. It's just deoxit. For the back side here, we're just gonna paint it. Just paint it. Everybody gets some. And rub that in there.
Daddy?
All better. There you go, ready to go home. The board flex issue is still a major concern. Nothing over here, not really. But here, massive. Eco power supply. Rubber feet. There you go, fix the board flex problem. I have to let it sit on here for probably 3.2 years and then it might be straight. Hi, it's 6:30. I got the entire everything out. All the resistor packs. I got 4 resistor packs out. The socket, the capacitor. I was going to remove this little tantalum, but or ceramic or whatever the hell it is. And we're looking clean. There are probably 4 or 5 busted rings that I found so far on this socket. I'll zoom in here and you can see how ate up everything is. But you'll see a lot of them. Hopefully if the camera focuses good enough. There we go. Oh my god, what's going on? I'm getting texted like mad. And there's a lot of like broken rings. Trust me, on both sides it's broken. You can see that one better on that bottom resistor pack right here now. The hole is good, but the ring is bad. So I got to clean the resistor packs up. I just pulled them out. CPU socket and the ROM socket came out. Don't know how many are busted anywhere, but there's not too many black specks on the data lines from there. However, there are a bunch going towards the CPU socket. Checked into the Agnes, and I'm not going to until after I do this. So now with everything done, starts the 3 to 4 hour process of continuity checking every single hole on Sprint Layout Viewer. This is a Rev 6, but the Rev 4s are pretty much match on minus the 32 RAM chips in the 256K. Good morning, it is 7:12 a.m. I've let this sit all night. Did it help? Nope. I'm going to start where I said I was going to start. Continuity testing all of the pins on the ROM and the 68,000 and the resistor packs. I got to do some printouts of the processor and ROM so during interruptions throughout the day I can mark where I left off. Holy crap. It is 9:17 a.m. That took a while. We pinned everything out. I got 1 bad ROM, 2 bad points on pin 64. Go figure. Everything else checks out fine continuity wise. I always print myself out the printouts so I can mark good, bad, ugly. So when I have to sit this down and get back to it in case the phone rings or something else happens or work or whatever, I can get to it. So the only thing I found was this. Exactly where I said before, pin 64 here goes down in the goop land. Right here in the resistor pack, the ring broke, headed towards that dot. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I have to put the sockets and the resistor packs and another cap in, and then we'll see what we get. It's going to take me a little bit. 10:08 a.m. I am getting set up to test this thing out. I had to pull the Agnes out because I forgot there was black goop leaking from underneath of it, so I scraped that clean. That is why I took a Scotch-Brite to it, and you can see the line of diarrhea, dookie, dog drag butt. So, this is the original Kickstart 1.3, which I had to sand down with a fiberglass pen and that Scotch-Brite to knock the scuzz off of it. I'm going to fire up putty. We'll see what we get. This Agnes is really dirty, so it might work one time, might not the next. Diagram 1.1, no video. Memory address error. Bad RAM. Halting system, no memory found. So Agnes is toast or not making contact. Let's try composite mode. Yeah, there we go, that's better. Halting system, and that looks, that's beautiful, but it's signs of life. I'm going to take this Agnes out because it's disgustingly bad. Here's another, another Agnes. I'm running out of all these parts, guys. Alright, Agnes replaced with another one. Let's see what happens this time. There we go. Good, we got color. We have serial. We have black and white. But do we have RGB? The connector is just disgustingly gross, so Rev 4's in this monitor. If it works. If it blips, it's the old Rev 4 thing. Alright, let's do, I gotta test the memory. 512K. Because it's a 512K Agnes, that's all I got. So, we lost an Agnes in the battle. We might see this come on. Did you see that? That's the Rev 4 thing in this monitor. If I hook it up to a 1084, 1080, whatever we got, we'll see it fine. I'm going to hook it up to the GBS, and we'll see what it gets. You'll see it blipping in and out. That's just a Rev 4 thing. Hey, we're going to work today. Detecting Zorro 3 memory area. That's funny. This should get to 500 and not 12, but like 11, and then it'll boop. Okay, so there we go. So 5, no memory past 512. That's perfect. Do you think this audio works? Holy crap! Remember, NTSC plays fast. Holy crap! And my phone rings. Be right back. So I have it hooked up to the GBS clone. This is the Retro Friends box that was kindly donated to me. 512K, we have no fast. We should have 512K of fast on this model. Well, that's definitely wrong. I set the jumper, and now we have a Mega chip on, yeah, that ain't right. So boot diagram again. Five twelve. Had to move the Gary the Gary one. Yep, was it J900? Yes, J900 had to be unjumpered because that is for 1 mega chip. When you want to slow down DMA access to chip RAM, you got to jumper that when you got 1 meg, and then move your whatever it is, A101 to the inboard side on a Rev 4. So we have 512K of chip, 512K of fast. System info, everything's green across the screen. It's Hertel hieroglyphics, the HH code. Now I'm going to continue with the IRQ CIA test. NTSC will fail, it says. It'll just say it's fail. See? NTSC will fail. Okay, no big deal. I don't know why that's blowing off there. This is the older diagram. Let's test the newer diagram. Alright, let's do CIA test again. Experimental test CIAs. PAL NTSC. NTSC OK. 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 Slow, don't care. Totally fine. Now the ultimate test. The ultimate test. With the Amiga diagramming, the Agnes replaced. The phone rings. Be right back. Okay, sorry about that. So I'm putting the original ROM back in here. Come on, go high. Go high. Go bright. That is bright. Holy crap. It's fixed. It's Workbench Kickstart 1.2. That is old. Well, everything's old around here. So with that, another death repair from the bottom of the ocean has been saved. I'm going to do some final cleanup. The oil really soaked into that back green crusty area, and I ran some copper brush with deoxin on all the ports in the back to clean them up. It doesn't look the greatest, but it looks a hell of a lot better than it... Oh, sorry. It looks a hell of a lot better than it did. But the owner can continue to clean that up. I just did the repairs. So we have a new CPU socket and a scrubbed down CPU, descaled. We have a scrubbed down CPU card slot thing. Blew all the scale out of it. The sockets are separate. I tested all that stuff when I did the pinouts. Continuity check between all of the ROM lines, new ROM socket, replacement Agnes, which is this. I'll include that with Mr. Michael's back thing. Reseated all the other ICs, double checked all the jumpers, fixed J900 900 for the Gary disable. That way you get 1 meg, 512 chip, 512 fast. Guess I should test floppy boot, but let's test floppy boot for the final. Need 1 meg chip for that, but we don't have that, but we'll see what we get. Holy crap. And it's fast because it's in NTSC, but check that out. So, we'll just ignore that fast sound. So on that note, another Amiga has been saved, and why is her hand frozen? So thanks for coming along on this journey. I'm sure by the time this comes back out, Mr. Michael will have his revision 4.4 Amiga 2000 all installed in its probably rusted out case, and hopefully he'll be able to do that restoration. But the Amiga lives on. Thank you guys for coming along on this journey. Thanks to all my supporters for your continued assistance. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something.
What do you know from funny, you bastard?